it's Pastor Dan from Dexter Gospel Church. Thanks for watching this Proverbs Practical. We're in the midst of a series of numerically based poetic proverbs. Each of these features the number 4. Some of them build climactically to that number, others bring out common features of the 4. The first few were largely negative, dealing with sin, destruction, cover-ups, and unnatural situations. We have one more segment like that now. We're in Proverbs 30, verses 21 through 23. Proverbs 30, 21 to 23 say, "For 3 things the earth is disquieted, and for 4 which it cannot bear. For a servant when he reigns, and a fool when he is filled with meat. For an odious woman when she is married, and a handmaid that is heir to her mistress." So now we get this numerical proverb, again calling attention to something that certain events have in common. In this case, the author speaks of everything being unsettled. The earth is disquieted, it can't bear these things. When these things take place, it's troubling and disconcerting. The earth refers to humanity and society, the people on the planet, not the globe itself. And people become unsettled. Society can't bear up under the load or the strain, the oppression of these events taking place. The thing that they all have in common is that they are unnatural, unusual, the opposite of the normal order of events. And what are they? Well, 2 are drawn from men and 2 are drawn from women. First is the servant who reigns. Well, that was strange in concept to them. They don't have a democracy, they have a monarchy. And the servant who reigns was warned about back in Proverbs 19:10. See, they liked neat, clear lines of succession in royal families. They didn't like the instability of not knowing who was going to be in control. If a servant ended up in power, that meant the whole authority structure had broken down. David was Saul's servant, for instance, and even though David was God's pick to rule, there was still a civil war when he took the throne. When Solomon's servant Jeroboam ended up splitting away from his son Rehoboam, once again it led to years of war. There were other examples of servants taking the throne, not by right of succession, let alone by divine appointment, but by murder and usurpation, and very few of those rules ended well. Not only weren't they raised and trained for the duties of leadership and rule, everyone felt destabilized. It was upside down from the way it normally was and should have been. Then there's the fool who's given plenty of food, perhaps even more than sufficient. The word for the fool here, that's the one that gave Nabal his name. Remember Nabal who mocked and defied David and ended up dying? It's a person who is immoral in their thinking. It's the person who says in their heart that there's no God. It's sometimes translated vile person. They haven't worked for and earned their bread, so when it is given to them, the fool receives it with a sense of entitlement. The efforts that they should have turned to providing for themselves, they turn to mischief and trouble, or of nothing of any use whatsoever. There's a reason why God appointed man to work, and why Paul said that if any would not work, neither let him eat. When people who are immoral and useless or destructive to society are still provided for, and not just with sufficiency, but with excess, society can't long bear up under that weight. It leads to disquiet and collapse. Once again, someone who won't work and doesn't make good decisions isn't normally rewarded for that. It's upside down. Now, I should note that this isn't to say that we shouldn't have compassion on the legitimately poor or unfortunate. Quite the contrary, mercy is a crucial quality of the righteous, and the lack of care and opportunity given to the poor is a critical point of God's just wrath upon societies and individuals. But rewarding wickedness and laziness is not the same as compassion upon the unfortunate. One is fundamental to a successful society, the other will destroy it. Then he turns in verse 23 to a woman who is just terrible, the odious woman. There's nothing about her that's appealing. She's not attractive, and worse, she's not of any good character. She doesn't bring anything of benefit to her husband or the family they might begin when she's married. She's unpleasant. The root word for the term odious is hate. She's just a mean, hateful person. But when her hatred is rewarded with love, it's not good. Whether she's married because of her money or her father's money, or whether it was political pressure or trickery, it doesn't matter. Society can't bear up under families that feature hatred as a defining characteristic instead of love. Marriage is supposed to be characterized by love, but all she brings to it is hate. Once again, that's upside down. It's not how it's supposed to be or normally is. Then the final upside-down event is when a handmaid becomes heir to her mistress. When that happens, we're inclined to think, oh, good for the handmaid, but that means there must have been some kind of tragedy or disappointment. Normally, inheritance runs through children. For the handmaid to become the heir means that either she supplanted the rightful heirs, or more likely there are no normal heirs. The bloodline is at an end. It's similar to when Abraham was worried about his steward being his heir. It's not that he had anything against his steward, it's that he wanted the legacy of leaving his own children. When families break down, when there's no legacy or heritage, when relationships are characterized by hatred instead of love, when people who aren't trained end up in positions they aren't ready for, it's a strain on society, a burden that the culture has a hard time bearing. Change isn't always bad, but instability can be crushing to a society. I hope this video is a help to you. If it is, hit that thumbs up button to give it a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel for more content from the Scriptures. Until next time, I hope you stay well and live in justice and stability.